What God cannot do does not exist. I am from Amara, the woman who God has been showing mercy back to back, but has been stubborn to sharing her testimonies. I got to know about Nsppd in 2020 during my house job. I was working in a teaching hospital. But then my roommate was always tuning in the morning. But because, she had a kind of character. So I'll be like, all these hypocrites, when they commit sin finish, they'll carry their wickedness and come and be praying and making noise in the morning. Foolish of me. Instead of me to leave the messenger and concentrate on the message. Shortly after that time, my mom now contacted me and I said, hey, have you heard about Nsppd? I said, Mommy, I beg. All these pastors, are you not seeing how the pastor is looking? All these pastors and all this, and Mom said, see, leave that. Come and listen. People are getting their testimonies. I said, Mommy, please leave me alone. Please. She tried to talk to me. I said, okay, you know what? Stay on the altar. I'm too busy. Most times I come back from the hospital, I'm exhausted. It's a teaching hospital, so of course, she kept persisting and insisted that I join. The next strategy she now used was, okay, anytime I'm off duty, she'll call me and say, today you're off, you can join the Nsppd prayer. So just to please her, I decided to join the Nsppd prayer so that she would leave my neck. I started joining and attending. The first thing that God did was He improved my desire to pray. Christians, we're just there, but like, what do we pray for? I didn't know how to pray, but then I see people praying. I was like, okay, at least I'll get my blessing of association. Just because I know these people, at least God will bless me. So I started attending the Nsppd prayer for the days I'm off duty or the days I remember I wasn't serious. My mom kept, oh, did you join today? Did you join today? So one of the days, I don't know, God being so merciful, it just happened the day that I was on Nsppd. Pastor Jerry Eze, that was on the 7th of July 2022. I decided to tune in. Pastor Jerry now said, write down a congratulation message, 7 things that you want to congratulate yourself for. That 2022 July 7th, I wrote down 7 things. That first thing I wrote was congratulations, you meeting your husband December 2022 and getting married before the end of 2023. That was the first thing I wrote. I wrote congratulations, everybody in my family got financial breakthrough. I wrote congratulations and my brother traveled abroad. Pastor Jerry, you will not believe it. Everything I wrote on that list actually happened and I did not even know. After writing it, I just kept the journal one side and forgot about it. Life continued happening the way God did it. February 2023, I was on duty in the hospital, and then something just said, let me just check online. I went online, I saw Solomon Buchi's post. I went to scroll past the post, but something just said, what is there? What do you have to lose? So I went to the comment section and I wrote, I would love to have a God-loving partner, not just a God-fearing partner, because even the devil fears God. That post got me attention and 3 people contacted me, of which my husband was one of them. My husband sent me a message and we started talking that same February. Before he knew it, he said he wants to get married. April, he went to see my parents. I was a bit skeptical. I was like, he's Yoruba, I'm Igbo. I don't know if my parents will be okay with it. When God brings his testimony, everybody will be okay with it. And whether they like it or not, they will have to accept it because it's God's own. My parents were okay with it. They were not complaining. They just say, he's a child of God. We are all one in the tribe of heaven. And that was it. Even when extended family members started to raise their ugly heads, God used my father and my parents, both of them, to suppress their thoughts. Next thing, we put our date for our court wedding. That was on 20th of June. Yes. I now traveled from Enugu, where I was working, to Lagos, because that was where it was scheduled for, where his family is. I went there. I arrived on 19th. When I arrived 19th, the first thing we planned was we are going to go to the hospital and we are going to run some tests, which includes all those tests, HIV, hepatitis. As a health practitioner, I couldn't just, not cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So went there. Once I arrived from the airport, straight to the hospital, did the test, asked them when the result was going to be out, but pregnancy, even wanted to also do fertility test. They ran the test. They said the result will be out first in the morning. I said I would like to see the result before I say I do in court. They said no problem. So in the morning, the result came out, and looked at the result. It turned out that he's positive to hepatitis. How? From where? I did not know that the devil was fighting behind the scene. At that point, we were just shut down. You're about to go for your court wedding and you're finding out that your partner has hepatitis. I just didn't know what to think about. A voice just told me, the blessings of the Lord make it rich and added no sorrow. Immediately that voice spoke to me. He now said, Ifemi is a blessing of the Lord. He will make rich and he will add no sorrow. Strength from nowhere just came. He was already shattered because he didn't understand what is going on. How will you be a person that you've kept yourself all your life and then you're telling you have hepatitis, and not like you inject yourself or you use tattoo? So the next thing, I just told him, don't worry yourself. Let's go for our court wedding. Speechless. I said, let's go for our court wedding. I wasn't drawing strength from him. I was drawing strength from the word of God. Because the normal, sensible me, as a health person, as a pharmacist, is like, you start thinking, no, this will likely I'll likely contract it. No. But when God's word spoke, I went and then they were like, we are supposed to go back to the hospital and drop samples for the fertility test. I said, if I can accept to marry somebody with hepatitis, then God will handle fertility. That is not my problem. We were even late. We got to the court. Another challenge. Court people kept doing us like this. Demanding for more money, more. But God did it. It was a success. Then I went back to my station, the hospital I was working. After a while, the pastors in my church I was attending started insisting that, they must see this brother. They must see this brother. I cannot just go get married like that. I said, okay, no problem. They said he must come. I told them there is no direct flight from Kwara State to Enugu. And I said, if he loves you so much, he should come. That is the only way. Is either he takes a flight from Kwara State to Lagos and from Lagos to Enugu. I told them that is too much expenses. Can't they just have a conversation over the phone with him? They insisted. I told him, and he was like, no problem, he's going to come and see them. Devil now thought that he could use that opportunity to mess with things again. So the next thing, when he came, saw them, and I said, okay, since you have come to Enugu, let us use the opportunity to pack all my things down to Kwara State. And he said, okay, no problem. And I have a lot of things. So the next day when he was going, he took everything. We packed all the things and went through bus. He started his journey. We were chatting and keeping in touch. We were still chatting. And the next thing, he had an accident. It was a fatal accident. In fact, the accident, if you look at the car, you know that accident was designed to kill him. He was sitting in front with the driver. But what God did, nobody died in that vehicle. In fact, he came out of the vehicle. He only broke the little bone in his foot. They rushed him to the hospital, emergency. Later, the transport people, Pismas, later came and sorted out the bills. After they had paid, they refunded them back their money, sorted out the bills, and said that they are going to send our things to the States later. But let them use another bus and just get to their destination. Which they got them a bus, took them to their destination. This is someone that's getting married in a week time. So the next day when he got home, he now had to, he was in terrible pain. His friend had to take him to a hospital. The doctor looked at it and said, oh, they are going to do him a surgery. They did the surgery and he told them that, I am going in a few days' time to Port Harcourt for my wedding. And he said, no, we cannot travel with this foot. He said, there is no way I must travel for my wedding. God being so kind, him and the family and everybody came, and on the 29th of July, we were married. We did our white wedding and our traditional wedding on the same day. Apart from the fact that I got married to my husband 2 months after meeting. Met me by February, by June we were married, by July we did our white wedding and traditional wedding. After the wedding, Monday, 2 days after the wedding, I had already booked to the consultant, a gastrointestinologist, concerning the hepatitis. So we paid and went to meet the consultant. When we met the consultant, he now said, this is hepatitis C. There are a few options for us. First, there are fewer chances or low chance of it transmitting sexually. Most people that contract it more from sharp objects. Because I was asking him, how is it that someone that is not sexually active, how did he contract this? And then I also said, he also donates blood. So how did he also contract this? Because if his blood is not clean, he will not be donating blood. The doctor said he can't give an explanation how he contracted it, but the thing there is that we have done the test over 3 times and it turned out positive to the same virus. That there is a medication for it, and you have to be on the medication for 12 weeks, which is roughly 3 months to 4 months. It's not 100% treatment, and a vial of the medication is over 300 and something thousand. I laughed. I said, doctor, we just got married like 2 days ago. How are we going to afford a vial 300 and something thousand, and he has to take it consistently for 12 weeks? I said, that is it. And there are series of tests. The devil wanted to break us down. So the doctor continued and said that there is still a possibility of contracting this disease sexually. So he will advise in the meantime that we never have unprotected sex. And I said, doctor, please, how do you expect couples that just got married, that have waited till marriage, that they should not have? How are we going to have kids? How are we going to produce children? And the doctor said, the sooner we start the treatment, the better. And we left, returned back home safely. And when we returned back home, he now said, let us go for his wound dressing, because he was dressing his wound days before he traveled to Port Harcourt for the wedding. So when we went to dress the wound, they opened the leg, although they had already told him that after a week he should take out the stitch at the back foot that got cut, which my younger sister, who happens to be a nurse, had already taken out the stitch in Port Harcourt. So now when we now went back, they were now dressing the wound. While they were dressing the wound, he was screaming. I said, let me check this thing. Why is this something that they did over a week ago? It shouldn't be this painful. Just for me to come and see that his bones were outside. I said, excuse me, who did this surgery? I need to see the doctor that did this surgery. How can you do a surgery on a patient and his bone is outside? So what exactly did you do and what did you bill for? When I now insisted on seeing the doctor, I know this health practitioner, when you meet your fellow health practitioner, you talk well, because this person knows as much as you know, or even may know more than you. So the person now apologized. We are sorry, we did not really do the surgery. We just did it so that he will join the legs to start speaking gibberish, and referred us to an orthopedic surgeon for us to do the surgery or repeat the surgery. Then government hospitals were on strike, so we have to go to this private orthopedic surgeon. When we arrived there, The surgeon looked at, said that we are going to do an x-ray again, and so that he will have a look at how bad it is. We did the x-ray, then he started talking. We are going to do this and do, like, the amount he was calling, exorbitant amount. And I said, sir, we just got married and you're calling this amount. Where are we going to get this kind of money for? I said, sir, this one you're speaking, are you ready to employ me? That was the word I used. He said, employ you. What are you? I said, I'm a pharmacist. You're just telling me now that we are going to do a surgery, that my husband will not be able to use that leg. That means he can't go to work for the next 3 months, and he will be on crutches. And then me, I don't have a job. I left my job in Enugu. I don't have a job. So now, how are we going to survive when both of us can't work? And I said that, oh, please, they have been looking for pharmacists. I should send my CV. So what God did was, and immediately, he now subsidized the treatment. They're going to bill him as a staff's relative. So God gave me a doctor to treat us and also a job at that instant without applying anywhere. When we thought that the devil has given up and decided to rest, do you know that the driver that was sent to the place where he had the accident and our luggages were, the driver went there, carried all the luggages. On his way to Kwara State, he encountered armed robbers. We waited for a while and we did not see our bag. We started contacting the company. Where is our bag? They told us that the driver encountered armed robbers and he was shot 3 times, but he did not die. I thought they were joking. I said, these transport people, they said a lie. Till when my bag came, and inside my bag I found bullets inside the clothes, and I knew that devil really came for us. We did a surgery on the 13th. On the 14th, being Monday, I started walking. As I started walking, it took me a while before I could unpack my things and organize my things in my new home. But then one day, when I was arranging my library, that was when I came across the jotter that I wrote down the 7 things I wanted God to do for me in 2022. I opened it and started reading it. That was where I found out that God had answered all my testimony, my prayers, and given me testimonies, and I did not even know. I got married in 2023, just as I wrote. My brother traveled October 2022, just as I wrote. My parents got settled, like everything. I say, God, oh, where that altar where I forget, God is really there. I now told myself that I'll try to be attending Nsppd. November 2023, I decided to be serious. From that November 2023, I have not missed a day. I decided to be serious. When I say attending, my prayer life increased. Things just started happening freely. No strife. Then Pastor Jerry will come online and start saying that you start saying you're holding back your testimony. You're holding back your so it hits me. I say it's true. I'm holding back my testimony. But I now said, God, if this word he's saying is actually for me, if you can take out this strange hepatitis that came from nowhere, from our life, permanently, like take it out, the way it suddenly came, let it suddenly go, then I will give this testimony, everything in detail, to the glory of God. So the next thing, January, but I didn't know how I was going to ask my husband, let us go and run the test, because it was depressing when you go to go and run the test and it comes out positive, when you have prayed and prayed and prayed. So I now had to use a strategy. I said, oh, babe, let us go and do our, this is the beginning of the year, let's go and do our routine check, so that we can, it's always good to do routine check. In that routine check, I added hepatitis, I added HIV, and other things for both of us. But this time I've been having sex as husband and wife, so I had to also check if I had also contracted this. When the result came out, it came out negative. When the result came out, look at the result. I was speechless. I broke down. I said, God, I thank you. What God, I thank you. What God cannot do does not exist. But then I said, I went to one of the best labs around here. I said, let me don't be too excited. I'm going to repeat this test again after a while and confirm that they did not make mistake. And this time I will go to another reputable lab. Went to go and do the test again, and it still came out. If at this time I said, let it not be a making mistake. Let me do both hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Both of them came out negative. I am here to give back, to fulfill my own part of the bargain and give back testimony. Before joining Nsppd, I used to say, maybe these people, they are coming to give testimony, they told them to say something. But then, your voice told me that, how many people will they pay? Majority of the people that are giving testimonies are even abroad. So, if you will you bribe those abroad that have more than you in Nigeria? See, God has been merciful. And if I'm to advise anybody, my dear, stay on the altar. Your ancestors had a shrine, an altar that was speaking for them. So you cannot accept to be an ordinary Christian in this generation and think things will go well for you. Then we will use you as toothpick. Stay on the altar. I am coming back for more testimonies. We go nowhere. Truly, what God cannot do does not exist. Pastor Jerry, may God continue to bless you. May God bless you beyond imagination, you and all the pastors and all the crews, even those we don't see, those behind the scene, those that make sure that the network is always good. May God continue to bless you. You have ignited the fire. Now you don't just give us fish so that we start depending on you. No. Now I've seen in this place the members of Nsppd, the people that God has ignited the fire in them, can now pray for their dead, and their dead will wake up. They can now pray for the sick. Before, ordinary Christians will start crying, hey, God, you have ignited faith. And if somebody says that this is of the devil, that means the devil is doing we should be one of the biggest disciples of God. Because you know what it is? He's raising up the faith of Christians. He's raising up the faith of Christians worldwide. Millions of people online, that their faith is rising. And their faith continues to rise just because you accepted the calling of God upon your life. May God bless you. Truly, what God cannot do does not exist.